Hey guys, so fun way to start the new year. Somebody was hitting one of my servers today for like hours, and they were running every script in the book, looking for PHP by admin, just like all these SQL injection techniques, everything. It was like somebody put their script on auto own and just came at me with everything in the book. I get questions all the time about my methodology, so I've been trying to do a better job of chronicling that. So I figured I'd record some of these so you can sort of come along on the journey of how I do what I do. So the first step is to figure out where the attack server is. In this case, I just looked up the IP, and it turns out that it is in Barcelona, Spain. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that the attacker is in Spain. They might be using a VPN sort of to obfuscate their location. But what is interesting about this is the ISP, which is Vodafone Spain. I hadn't heard of that. I had to look it up, and apparently it's like a cellular company. And the reason that's curious is because most VPNs have like sort of a generic name. So right there, that was kind of a red flag. So the next step here is to just run an Nmap scan. Nmap tends to be a little more noisy because I'm doing port enumeration, operating system fingerprinting, trying to figure out what services are running on those ports that are open, version numbers, that kind of thing. So it's very loud, but I'm not trying to be covert here. I'm just trying to gather as much information I can about the attacker who is trying to break into my server. This one is actually really curious because we've got port 80 open, as you see here. But when I try to go to that, I get a connection was reset, so it's automatically booting me out, right? But we do have port 8080, so I'm going to go ahead and go there, and I get this really interesting authentication required by router, which is pretty funny. So something that I always do, and I'm always amazed when it works because I don't expect it to, but it actually works more often than not, is to try stock credentials. Now, the most common stock credentials for any router is admin, admin. So here is where we click OK and expect it to fail. But in this case, so here's the thing. This is beautiful, and this is beautiful in the most hysterical way. This guy from Spain went out of his way to buy a cellular router, which looks like this. And so what he's trying to do is he probably bought a SIM chip, paid cash for it, put it into this router, connected his computer to it, and then hooked this up to a VPN so that he could create layers of obfuscation for himself. He left this open on the World Wide Web with stock credentials. This guy probably thought he was so clever. He was probably like, oh yes, I will buy a VPN and I will hook it up to my router and then nobody will find me. I mean, he's leaking information like his modem's IMEI number, MAC address, the ISP Vodafone, yes, Spain. I got the cellular network and that. Check this out. In here, he's got his VPN client credentials cached. Now take a look at this username, AAA, and if we reveal the password, boom, AAA. This is very lazy setup. Device list, look at this, MAC address, computer name. I'm sorry, I need a drink. So now we need to decide what we're going to do. We could absolutely block his MAC address and device from the network, so he can't get back in. He's going to have. Or if I was so inclined, I could reconfigure this router so that I could connect to it from my computer, and then we would be on the same network, and I could just hack into his box. I can steal his VPN, start doing crazy stuff with it. Anyway, I'm going to go and figure some fun ways to make this guy rethink his life choices. You guys have a good night.